Hello, everyone. It's about that time. This is your amazing new host, Dr. K. Michelle Watson, and I personally want to welcome you to my new podcast, Let's Just Talk About It, the premier place to keep up to date on some amazing topics and discussions that will encourage you to consider the phenomenal power of change. I hope you enjoy the show, so let's get straight into it. Hey y'all, this is Dr. K. Michelle Watson, and welcome to our Let's Just Talk About It, the premier podcast that is changing lives. I am so excited. This episode is going to be phenomenal because we've got some real truth on the table today. This is the beauty of a conversation where we again have an opportunity to pull back the layers of the onion and make sure that we understand how to really deal with the many issues that we are faced with in our life. And all of it centers around understanding the power of change. We get to talk about change in every aspect of it, right? We get to talk about change and how we deal with our families, change in how we deal with our jobs, change in our communities, change in our churches, change in every area of our life. Change can't be obsolete. Let me just put that out there. Change cannot be obsolete in your life. It has to be a primary factor in how you manage your success or the lack thereof, right? Your failures. And change is a beautiful thing. Change denotes growth and it can create sustainability. And I'm all about sustainability. I'm all about making sure that my life has an opportunity to be changed by the power of God, most importantly, but the things that I'm putting into place to ensure that I can be living my best life. And I know many of you are like, your best life, that just sounds like, really everybody is saying it. But listen, for many of us, it's not a trend. It is the truth, right? It really is giving us an opportunity to live our best life because we get to focus in on us, right? And the real things that help catapult us into positive relationships, positive experiences, all centered around change and imagining the possibilities. You know my slogan, real change begins with you first. And this is no different. And my conversation today is with my special guest. She's coming back, yes, to join us. She joined us on one of our other podcast episodes, and she decided to come back and join us for this next rich conversation. Would you help me join in today? Ty Muhammad, my firstborn. Yes, welcome.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to be back.
To be back. Yes, she's back in the building. She's back in our studio. We got her all the way here from Raleigh, North Carolina. Thank God the roads are filled with her getting here safely to be on our podcast today. Thank you so much for joining us, Ty.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we've had a lot of great conversations on many of our episodes, and today we will not disappoint. Today the conversation is, ta-da, drum roll, social media, real or fake? Right? I know we all love social media. Listen, I'm on there, and for the first, many times my children are the first ones to tell me, don't post that yet. Don't post that. Don't put that out there yet. Don't even put that out there at all. Right? My children have this way of kind of commanding the situation, kind of put me back in my place and just say, hold up, wait a minute, right? Because there are lots of different things we need to realize about social media. There's some good things, there's some not so good things, there's some opportunities for us to really come back in our faculties, the realities of what we're dealing with when we talk about social media because of it being so instantaneous, right? So at the moment, right? Somebody can post something on social media and and within the next second they delete it thinking nobody saw it. Wrong. That's not how it works, right? That's just not what happens. And as quickly as you put it out there and try to delete it, somebody else has saw it. Somebody else has snapped a picture. Somebody else is saying, you can't get rid of that, right? On social media or what's on the internet today. So we're going to have this conversation. We're going to have this dialogue where we simply just talk about it. And hopefully you'll be able to take something away that will give you an opportunity to self-reflect, an opportunity to have a conversation even with your own self, right? Before you bring anybody else into the picture, have a conversation with yourself and say, self, what am I doing? Self, where am I falling short? Self, where am I, allowing things to fall through the crack because I don't understand the true realities of social media being real or fake. So I'm so excited that you're joining us with this conversation. And so we're going to start right there. Social media, real or fake? Tell me what you think.
I think that social media is very real. I think that it can grow you, it can assist you in many ways to keep in contact with family. It can help build your business. It can help you financially, personally. It can help you in a whole bunch of ways. But the thing that we have to remember with social media is that it is real, but there's also a perception of real. So not that it's fake, but I'll give you an example. I follow somebody and they're into cleaning, and she showed the angle of everything clean, and then she posts the unseen, and everything is pushed to the side out of the frame of the video, right? So it's real. That's clean. Oh wow, how did she keep her house so clean? How did she keep it so neat? And everything else that's not clean is pushed to the side. So there is real, and then there is the perception of what is real when it comes to social media. Social media is a great place to keep up with your grandparents, your family that live near or far. They can continue to see your children grow, to continue to see your accomplishments that they may not be able to see otherwise. But social media also can be a place where it can cause people to have anxiety, depression, think that their life is not good enough or that they're not meeting the milestones of life. And that's when we get into the perception of what is real when it comes to social media. So I love that we're going to talk about this a little bit today.
That's great. That's great. That really sets things kind of in order as we talk about, social media, the realities of social media, what is real, what is fake. Because perception, you use that word, right? Perception. People's perception of your reality of being sometimes perfect, right? Oh my God, their relationship with her husband is so cute. They look right, so good together. Oh my God, I want my marriage to be like that. Oh, I want my relationship to be like that. They're
You don't
so
even know
cute.
they're knocking each other's head off every night when they come. You don't even know that, and you're saying out loud, "I want that relationship."
Wow.
Are you sure that you? Are you sure that you? I follow a relationship that follows Christ. Right. So if you're married and your relationship is not following Christ, because there's a perception that it's always like this when that is, if you are human, you know that that's not the reality. Are there marriages that are great, healthy, present that on camera and present that in real life outside of camera? Absolutely, 100%.
Absolutely.
But we get, like, I noticed, like, sometimes somebody be go, oh my God, I can't believe that this is happening to them. Yeah, because they're showing you the highlights of life. Social media can be for the highlights of life. And some people do talk about their low life. They deal with the struggles that they're having, the things that they're going through to inspire you, that they'll get through it, and so can you. But social media is whatever that person who's putting it up there wants you to see. And that's the thing that we all need to remember. whether it's your grievances, whether it's the joys. People always, when something happens or people share their opinion, they say, well, you said this in 2015, because social media never forgets. They go back and they pull. So you could be a person who says one or two things. Yeah, I did say that, but no, no. Or, yeah, that's how I felt in 2015, and now in 2024, I've experienced some things, and now I feel different.
There you go, right there, right? There are things that we experience in our life at one time that were true, right?
And now-
2015,
right.
and now
Are no longer true.
are no longer true, right? But social media will hold you accountable for what you said in 2015
Correct.
and don't allow the capacity for things to change in your life when there should be change.
There should be.
There should be change in your life in 2024, right? Because we hold people to so many different standards, right? We hold people to standards that we don't even know, that we don't even have relationships with,
That we don't hold for ourselves.
that we don't even hold for ourselves.
Yeah, we have standards for all of the strangers on social media. We how they live their life, how they raise their kids. Oh, she let her child do that. Yeah, and you did too last week. You don't remember? But that's the world of social media, and that's when it gets into that real versus the perception of real. Oh my gosh, she cooks dinner every night. Oh my God, and she cooked all of that in one day to put up here for these reels to show y'all for 5 days, and then her kids ate Chick-fil-A and McDonald's and Bojangles because we from Raleigh. We eat Bojangles down there. Then that's what we tell people. You know, that's what we believe. So it can be difficult. I do believe to separate what you're looking at and the reality and pulling the good out of it, because I believe that good can come out of social media. I think that is a balance. I know I used to wake up in the morning, the first thing I do, go to scrolling. And God started convicting me. Oh, so you
Yes.
spending more time on social media, you ain't even talking to me. You ain't even said thank you for waking me up this morning. I mean, they're like, okay. Like, you know, so social media has this power to draw you in, right?
Yes.
So it can be, that's where that blurred reality can come in, and people can get confused about what's real, and what's fake. And so that's, I can believe, you know, that's where people can find their struggle, or, oh, I want my life to be just like this. And if God, you know, I tell him all the time, I really want to be a minimalist. God, if it's your will for me, and I follow all these people that are minimalists, and I'm still working towards the mark. I'm still working towards the mark.
She pressing
But
toward the
I'm
mark.
pressing toward the mark of the high calling, okay? But we have to realize that sometimes what we see is really not everything that we see. So that's the hardest part, I think, about social media and people, how they navigate their lives through it.
Absolutely. You know, I put on social media the other week that I've worked so hard to be a minimalist, but I find myself falling into being a maximalist. And as my children come to my home and they're like, and we're talking about downsizing, and my children are like, and where you gonna put all that stuff you got here in your house?
Real
And
questions.
real questions.
Real answers.
Real questions that need real answers, right?
Really.
Because I am truly a maximalist, right? And my mom is a maximalist, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny that we have this conversation of trying to be a minimalist, and I'm not. Is that real or is that fake, right? Where am I going with this, right? And wanting to be a minimalist, and I'm really not, right? I'm really not when I have, 750 pairs of boots and, 100 pair of, winter shoes, and then another 100 pair of summer shoes, and another, one closet is filled with summer clothes and spring clothes, and another is filled with winter clothes. Not a minimalist at all. But in social media, we seem to be intrigued by what other people do, right? And we seem to be intrigued that our opinion matters. What would you say about that?
Everyone has an opinion. Everyone. I have learned through wisdom and growing old, 40 plus 1, just recently, that sometimes we need to hold our opinion. Because we're making our opinion based off of the information that someone is giving us to perceive. We don't have the totality. We don't know all the details. We're making so many assumptions. It's like that thing on social media. Somebody says, "Well, I don't like apples." Oh, so you saying you don't like oranges? No, I'm saying I don't like apples. But the social media brings you into this world. I do notice, especially recent, is the to argue, to create discord. And I personally, I think it's a spirit, but that's neither here nor there. I think that it's easy to fall into that with social media because you have your perception of what you think this person is saying, their tone, their language. This person may just talk like that every day, and all their friends get them at home. My friends always say, "You're so funny," but I be for real. I be serious. Like I be 100% serious. But we take on this perception and then we build our opinion off of it without having all the information or the facts.
Absolutely. So it's not so much of what somebody says, but it's what they don't say as well, right? Because we're very purposeful in wanting that perception, as you said, for people to see us in a particular light. Like I love social media. I do. I post all the time. My apostle is hilarious because he's probably like, hold up, wait a minute, or my kids are saying, hold up, you listen. I always tell them you got to be quicker than that. You got to tell me before.
We tell me don't post where we are till we're gone, right? Don't post it once we're gone. Once we've already left, we've all established all of our fun. Then you could post that we were down at the Big Jacks. Then you could post that because
that's right.
Now we're not putting. You have to worry about safety. You have to worry about people knowing where you are, and it's not that you're this person that, oh my goodness, you just don't know people's intentions. And I think that social media presents itself as this safe space to share your life and share your thoughts and dreams and all your hopes and aspirations, when it was really built to let people know how you're doing from afar.
Wow, isn't that something? That's so true, right? Because we're so quick to say, "I'm here" or "I'm there." Well, who's at your house, or is your house protected? Where are your children, right? Social media. The other day we had this conversation because my grandson, her youngest, Miles, who's 8 years old, never likes to wear clothes when he's home. Zero. He's like, no shirt, and he likes to walk in his breed. He's just hilarious. He's just comfortable in his home, right? And so for some reason, Miles was holding my youngest grandson, and Miles didn't have on a shirt. And so first thing Thailand was like, don't post that. That picture is for us as a family. That picture is for us to have in our little group chat, and it's not for social media. And so tell us why you thought that it was inappropriate for us to post that picture of Miles, a very innocent little 8-year-old boy that, tell us what you think.
We live in a world, and we live in the world that everyone does not have good intentions. And it is very critical that you protect your children from anybody wanting to misuse images of them. Unfortunately, there are people who don't have good intentions and they will take the innocent picture of your child and use it for evil. So now we've opened the door to spirits and other things. So I don't allow that. I used to post Miles all the time, his boxes, and I stopped after just gaining more knowledge and just through conversation with, like, you just don't know other people's intentions. And that's the safeguard that I think everybody should remember when it comes to social media. Anybody, God already saw it. He saw it when you thought about it. He saw it. Don't even worry about it. He already saw it. But everybody else, they was a suspect. And what are their intentions with what you are posting? And whether you want to accept it or not, you are representing yourself, your family, Christ most, and most importantly, above all, every time that you post on social media. You see people put, oh my God, what was I talking about? My memories. Like, my memories are what? Like, you can't believe sometimes the things you said or thought or posted. You're like, oh, 2014, that was tripping. You look back at your memories, like, what was going on that year? But that's what happens with social media. You just get kind of in the day to day. My friend said, this person always angry. Everything they post, they just mad, and they could just it from their perspective, they may not even be thinking about it like that, but that's how it's being received on social media. When you post on social media, you have no control of how it's going to be received, and I think that that's a very important thing because if you're an influencer or if you're a content creator, you need to understand and have a strong backing of standing on whatever you're going to be posting on the internet because it's going to last forever.
Wow, isn't that something? How the internet, social media, real or fake, lasts forever, and that perception that you're putting out there. Like I try to remind people, a lot of times my photos look very, perfected, but I didn't wake up like that. Let me just put it out there. I did not wake up like that. Um, I don't want people to think, oh my God, this is how she looks all the time. No, it ain't. Because there are days when it's a hard day. It's a hard knock life. And I don't want people to believe that everything is perfect about my life because in no way is it, right? What I'm attempting to do on social media, every day I'm pressing toward the mark. Every day I'm pressing toward the mark of the high calling in Christ Jesus, right? It's a press, right? And in social media, sometimes we see the perfection of where things are. And again, we lose the reality of understanding that people are only showing us what they want us to see. People are only showing us what they want us to see.
I think people need to remember that social media is meant to be a side, not the main course in your life.
Woo!
And the main course in your life is living out here, living for real, testifying to the goodness of Jesus, sharing the good news of Jesus Christ, spending time with your loved ones, traveling the world, investing and spending time in your local church, being in your community, and sharing those things on social media, and the little things, but not the main course of your life. Oh, I gotta post this picture. I gotta post this. You've already taken it too far. You've already crossed over into a dangerous area because now you're blurring the lines. And life is meant to be lived. So everything is not for social media. Everything is not for the world to know. Some things are between you and God. Some things are between you and your family. And that's okay. And that's okay. Is it a blessing to be able to share? Like when I graduated, my grandparents couldn't come, but she was able to watch online.
Yeah.
Great, blessing, honor, great. But we also have to realize that there are times where we're not representing ourselves well. We're not representing others well, the people that we care about, and we're not representing God well with the things that we put on social media. So, social media is a side; it is not the main course, and I think that's really the thing that I need, that I would want for people to understand about social media.
Wow, I like that. I like the fact that social media is a side, it's not the main course, right? And sometimes we've got lots of sides, and there are people that just kind of live off the sides, right? They don't really have anything as it relates to the main course of their life, and they just kind of. But then I think there's there's an imbalance, right? There's a nutritional imbalance because you only have sides and you don't have some of the other important parts of your main meal that keeps you stable, right?
Correct.
That keeps you whole. And I think there's a balance. I'm learning every day how important it is that I have a balance in my life. And one thing that you talked about that really, sets some things in motion for me is when I wake up in the morning, is the first thing that I do is go to scrolling on my phone, or do I take a moment to say, Lord, I thank you. I thank you that my children are here. I thank you that my grandchildren are here. I thank you that my mom and my siblings are here. I thank you that we have a home that we can live in. I thank you that we ain't homeless. We're not on the street. We have food in the refrigerator. All of those things I find that are so much more necessary as I'm continuing to grow in the things of God. And social media is not as important as maybe I once thought of, like being so quick to get in there and put something on social media. And you shared with me one time, which I thought was very significant, about when you get in the car with your children, my grandbabies, phones are down, and what do you have them? What do you have them do when you get into the car?
We pray.
Mhm.
We pray, and we usually, I alternate because I take the boys at the same time. But we talk about the goals for the day, conversation about what we're looking forward to, maybe something that, but it's about the conversation. And especially, when you're a content creator, your life is sharing. Your life is sharing what you're doing today, what you're doing this week. So how do you balance, a life of this? My job is to share, and keep it real. But today I'm really not having a good day. Today I'm really struggling. Today I'm really not feeling like this, right? And that's when you know that you need to start strategizing if you're being authentic.
Mm.
Because that's when I believe, as a content creator, that you start crossing a line. Are you starting to dabble in some idol worship?
Wow.
And I know that's like, what? Like, wait a minute now. Yeah, it can be that serious. People say, oh, I had to take a social media break because it became an idol.
Wow.
I had to, oh my God, this happened. Now this person is following me and I didn't know who they were. And it all goes back to that same core thing. So make sure that you're strategizing and keeping your life full outside of the content that you're creating. Is important to be successful while using social media and maintaining that realness and authenticity.
Absolutely. I think that is so important, because one of the things that I think you also do outside of pray with your children is that you turn on, you create an environment of praise when they get in the car. Ain't no 95.7, ain't no.
She's saved. It's 97.
Oh, 97. 97.
She's saved for real.
Jesus. Right, because 102, whatever, point, whatever. Right, but you create an atmosphere when they get in the car with praise music, worship music, right? Because you need to you need their environment to be of a different caliber. What would you say about that?
I think it's important. Anytime you're doing anything, whether it be social media, anything that you're leading your life to do and be successful at, you need to put God at the center. And I'll say that every time in every way for every situation that you're going to encounter. It's always going to be keep God at the center, because you're taking a risk not doing it. I'm just, and I would say to anybody who's young and influencing and trying, and also you are saved and you're pursuing righteousness, that you need to keep God at the center. He can strategically catapult you in 1 year, 10 years over people who've been doing it forever if you strategically align with Him. Your content, your creation, everything needs to be aligned with Him. And that's how you will remain successful and stay away from the perception of real on social media. You have to engage Him in everything. And I know people are like, it's not that serious. And when I tell you it's that serious, it's even more serious than that. Like, it's even more serious than that. If I would have strategically aligned with God a long time ago, things would definitely be different. I see a lot of times on people, well, what would you tell your younger self? Do what God said the first time. That's what I would say. And on social media, do the same thing. If you know that God wouldn't be pleased with what you about to put up there, don't put it up there. If you are having a disagreement with someone on social media and you want to go up there, me and my husband we don't disagree on the internet. We don't. You won't. I think every day I married a man who we not gonna disagree on the internet. We don't. It's not. Everything is not for the internet. Everything is not for social media. So that's why you have to strategically align yourself with God and follow what He may tell you to say something on social media that may ruffle feathers. But if you align it with Him and He's your backing, that's all the backing that you need.
Absolutely. Wow. Can y'all believe it? This conversation, social media, real or fake, speaks volumes. And there's lots more conversation
Lots more.
where we're coming from, because we're going to simply just talk about it. Everything that has to be said is going to be said. And these are great opportunities for us to really pull back those layers and really think about how everything that we do can be done and centered around God. One thing I want to share with you, I've shared with this on every one of our episodes, because I believe these resources are great resources for you to understand the power of change. Back a couple of years ago, I wrote my first book, When Change Becomes Your Only Option. And when you realize that change, when you make change your only option, it creates an opportunity for you to eliminate the excuses. You eliminate the excuses of what you can or cannot do, right? And so I made change my only option, and I want to share this book with you. And I want to make sure that you understand how many opportunities there are for you to be relentless about imagining all the wonderful possibilities. Okay, so that's my first book. My second book was Thinking Out Loud About Change. What I found myself doing is thinking out loud every day, all day, about change. Why? Because it impacts my life in so many ways. And deciding on what's important in our lives is enough to take a chance on change. How about that? I want to encourage you today to take a chance on change, because when I say that it's going to be doing some amazing things in your life, you will wonder and ask yourself, why did it take you so long? And then the companion to this particular book is my Thinking Out Loud About Change journal. This journal gives you an opportunity to purposefully write out what you might be speaking or feeling in your life about the things that you want to change. I will always share that God says, write the vision down and make it plain, right? And I want you to be able to write in your journal and make it plain, make it real, make it authentic, right? And sharing some of the things. And it is the companion to this particular book. And I want to encourage you that all three of these books can be found on Amazon. So go ahead, Dr. K. Michelle Watson, pick you up a copy. Be a blessing to not only yourself, but be a blessing to a friend. I love blessing friends. Friends are good to me. If it's good enough for me, it's good enough to be shared. That's how I think about it. I used to tell my children that all the time when it came to relationships, and I was really blessed because my children would always include me in their relationship with their friends. If I was disciplining my own children, it was okay to discipline someone else. So I just want to encourage you today, as we continue to just talk about it on our podcast, to stay with us in our next episode next week. Next Sunday, 8 p.m., same time. We'll be on all the social media platforms. Join us, subscribe to us on YouTube, subscribe and join us on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll have some clips on TikTok. All of these are great social media platforms that we're using in positive ways, and they're real. They're real, and we're going to tell you the nitty gritty. We're going to get down to the real nuts and bolts of what many people are talking about, and really encourage you to take a part of the dialogue. Well, I want you to join me again next week, same time, same channel. Peace.
Well, everyone, that's all we got time for right now, but we'll keep the conversations moving and topics flowing. Join us for a new episode every Sunday at 8 p.m. for Let's Just Talk About It. Don't miss it, and don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. We'll always have a little something for you if you do. I'm your host, Dr. K. Michelle Watson, and I'll see you on our next episode. Be blessed.